Le podcast minier vous est fièrement présenté par Agnico Eagle, la plus grande société minière au Canada et le deuxième producteur aurifère en importance au monde. Ensemble, on vous fait découvrir toute l'énergie, la passion et les coulisses fascinantes du monde minier.
On est toujours en direct du PDAC à Toronto. Manon Rouillé, présidente de l'agence de communication Rouillé et l'animatrice du podcast minier. Aujourd'hui, le podcast va se dérouler en anglais. Alors, je vais pratiquer mon anglais avec Joanne Jobin. Bonjour, Joanne.
Bonjour.
She's a veteran capital markets, investor relations, and corporate communications executive with over 25 years of experience in the natural resources and financial sectors.
Yep.
Joanne is the founder of the mining investment event that we call now the event, because there's only one event like that.
That's right. It is the event.
The event, a major annual conference held in Quebec City.
Yeah.
We talked about it last year on our podcast.
Yeah.
She's also the founder and CEO of Vid Media Incorporated and IR Inc. We'll talk a bit more about that later.
Yep.
And we'll dig in the investor's role in the market and all of these subjects that you're passionate about.
Yep.
And I've had the chance to meet you, 3 years ago now?
It's about 3 years. À peu près 3 ans.
À peu près 3 ans. And Joanne insists of doing the interview in English, even though she speaks French, right?
I do speak French, but I'm more comfortable talking about business in English. You know,
Same.
J'ai jamais perdu mon français, mais je veux pas m'enfarger.
Where are you from?
Originalement, I'm from Saint-Hubert.
Okay. So you're from Quebec.
So, yeah. So French is my first language. But when I was 6, we moved to Ontario. And there was, back in those days, and I'm talking back in those days, there was no French immersion. You know, there was like, pas l'école française. There was nothing like that. My mother's like, okay, you're 6 years old, go to kindergarten and learn how to speak English, right? But we spoke French at home. So I was actually educated in English, which is why I'm more comfortable speaking about business in French. I mean, in English. In English. So that's the story. But
and how did you end up, like you're in finance and all of that, but how did you end up in the mining industry?
So I started with a little company called VRIC. And I actually did the first site visit ever to Mercer Mines back then, which is now Revival Gold, and to Gold Strike. And this was before Bell Mulligan. Like, this was the godmother of IR, right? This was like really, really early. And I was there at one of the first gold pours they had. So it was like the first site visit ever to Barracks properties. So I've been around a really long time. I was at I am Gold's first gold pours in Mali. I was Peter Maroney's first IR hire at Yamana. So yeah, you know, I've seen it. I've seen a lot in this industry. I was around when gold was like $25 an ounce. Okay. I don't want to talk about the age, but yeah. I started when I was 12. That's what I always say.
I say the same thing with I had my kids at 14.
Yes, exactly.
You founded IR Inc. in 2009, exactly when I founded Rouillé. That's what I so 17 years ago. And what did it do at the time and what does it do now?
Yeah, so IR Inc. was basically an IR firm, you know, but we did corporate communications, we did capital markets, we raised money, we did all sorts of things because by then I was, you know, I had done all those things, right? We did events, we did small conferences. And then, you know, when COVID hit, we sort of started Vid Media, which stands for Virtual Investor Day. So we were doing like online town hall meetings and we were doing online conferences like for Laurentian Bank and stuff like that. And for me, the conference industry was always really fascinating because I had been to so many conferences. I mean, so many. And I had been hired by conferences. For example, I did the first one-on-one meetings for Denver Gold when they were still holding it in Denver back in the day. And we did that all by spreadsheet for them. So, I mean, I've been around the conference circuit for a long time, and that's what people don't understand is that I'm not a conference person. I'm a capital markets IR person that just happens to know how to do logistics really well.
But that's why it's so successful, though.
Right.
Because you know what you're talking about, what you need to sell, and how to bring the right people to the table, the conferences, investors. You've been where they are.
Yeah. And most importantly, when we started this conference, we looked at it very, very differently. I looked at it as I'm a mining company, and how do I want to be treated? And what do I want when I go to a mining conference? You know, I don't want somebody just to take my money, and a lot of money, and then I have to travel to UK or wherever I'm going. And, you know, that's a big expense, right? You're two executives, you're traveling, the hotels. On average, it's a $20,000 fee. You know, where's my meetings? I got 5 meetings. You know, I'm a small cap company. I can only get 5 meetings, right? It's not fair. Also, we wanted to run it. I'd seen a lot of really good conferences, and I'd seen conferences that were not that great, and I knew what I wanted to do. And I knew that I wanted to run it similar to a banking conference. So I wanted to include all these beautiful evening events so that people would have an opportunity not just to have great meetings, but also to network.
But now we're talking about the event. We're not talking about vid and media. So the virtual. Is the virtual media still on? Are you still doing that?
Yes. So we're still doing town halls. We're not doing virtual online conferences because we have an in-person conference now that is growing in leaps and bounds. But the town hall meetings are really fascinating because it's an opportunity for CEOs to go out and engage live with their audiences. So it's not a podcast, it's actually a live presentation. On average, we have 100 to 250 people in the room at any given time. We just did one with George Ogilvy at Sonora, Arizona Sonora and Copper. And that went really well. We had well over 100 people in the room. I do an intro. George comes on with his team. They go through their PowerPoint presentation. But in the meantime, all the people that have hopped on can actually talk to one another. We see them engaging with one another, talking to one another. I can engage with them. You know, welcome New Zealand. Great to see you here. Right? And people are very, very passionate about it. And
it's
then,
really live, huh?
Yeah, very live. And then they can post their questions. And the questions go into this hopper where I can look at the questions with their head IR person and go, okay, this is a great question. So now we publish it for everybody to see. And people can upvote the questions like, oh, I want to see that one answered first. So when I come back on, I'm going to moderate the questions and ask the questions that the people really want to know about. So it's a great way for them to really interact in live time with that audience.
With all the conferences you've seen of CEOs making them and the PowerPoints, what's the common mistake you see them making?
Not getting the message out right from the get-go. You know, like your first slide should be, I mean, it's really old school, but it's really effective. A map and 10 points about why an investor should invest there. Like, you have to look at it as if the investor is seeing it for the very first time. And that's, I think, like you don't see the forest for the trees. Oh, everybody knows we're here. No, they don't. Yeah. They do not know that you're here. I see the same actual mistakes when I see a booth, right? And you know, all the information on your booth should be from the waistline up. Nobody's looking down at your feet. They're all looking up. Oh, there's your ticker. There's your map. This is who you are. Like a beautiful billboard about what the company is. Don't overload maps and geo stuff. You know, and That's the common mistake I see. Now, the larger like the big producers and stuff, you know, they are who they are. People don't need to see it.
Yeah.
But if you're
And
a mid,
you have great communication teams too, so they have maybe less of a worry for that.
exactly. But what I see the smaller caps, mid tiers, kind of making that mistake. You know, put your information from the waist up. That's what people are looking at. They're not looking at your feet. Where's your ticker? Oh, it's down. Like, you know. So those are the like common mistakes that people make. But, you know, press releases, I can say the same thing. It's like, you can get as technical as you want. Let your geos go crazy. Let your technical people go crazy after the first 2 paragraphs where, you know, you really need to get the message across of what it is you have found, what you've achieved, where you're at. And then, you know, if the technical people want to read it, they will read it. Most people don't get past the first paragraph.
And if I may add, please don't put your PDF press release on LinkedIn as an image.
Yes.
And you've been traveling around the world.
Yes.
You speak with lots of investors.
Yes.
What do you see? Is there a change? What are they looking for in the mining industry?
Yeah. So there's been a real sea change, especially since commodities and gold have like gone through the roof, right? There's 2 things that we're seeing. The big boys and girls are completely cashed up. So now there's a trickle down effect. So everybody's getting financed, right? Even the small companies, that's great. That's great for everybody. We've also seen a real sea change with the types of investors that are coming to the conference. And even our own companies, you know, everybody wanted to meet with institutions like the first 2 years. How many institutions do you have? I only want to meet with institutions. If you're too small, yeah, you can meet with an institution, but they're not going to invest in you unless, you know, they can't invest in you if you're 10 million or whatever, because they're going to take half the company. You know, they have to be able to get in and out. I mean, that's the rule of thumb. But what I have seen is big companies, mid-tier companies, asking to see the high net worth people. And we've seen a lot more, you know, obviously we have more institutions than we had when we first started 5 years ago. We had like 81 investors. We now have well over 300. But we're seeing that. We're seeing really nice high net worth individuals come in from across the globe, like Europe, the US, Canada, you know, a strong contingent from BC this year. So it's really, you know, that has changed. Even the retail investors, companies say to us, oh, do you have 4 or 5 retail investors we can meet with? Yeah, we put them in packs and we send them to their rooms, right, to do those meetings. So we've seen a change in that because for a long, long time, those were the only people that were investing in companies during the drought, right? And now they want to invest even more. So I think companies are looking at them as a viable form of investment. Also, you know, the corp dev teams are becoming, you see a lot of those at Beaver Creek. I mean, it's a big sort of corp dev environment for them. And we're seeing more of that coming as well.
What's the difference with Beaver Creek and the event in Quebec?
I think, Jessica and I, we're really good friends and we go back a long time. She's been a great ally to us. I hope they're coming this year. But I think the biggest difference between us is that we include all of our evening events. Like we, you know, whereas because of the way they started almost 20 years ago today, I mean, they have a massive engagement. We're 5 years old. They're 20 years old. I mean, yeah. Of course, there's going to be a difference. But I think it's mostly the price. We're very well priced against any conference going out there. I think investors and delegates get a really good bang for their buck. And each company gets their own personal one-on-one room. So those are the differences. I think Jessica has grown immensely. I love what she does. I go to that conference every year.
I've never been.
Oh
Never
my
been to
God,
Beaver Creek.
it's fantastic. I go every year because it is the place to be. And it's really interesting because we've kind of ended up bookending each other. So I like to say our conference is the last conference of consequence for investors before they take off for the summer. And then we kick off with Beaver Creek in the fall. And I've had quite I mean, this is not what I came up with. This is like what investors are telling me as well. You're the last big conference before everything goes a little more quiet for summer. And then we kick off in the fall again with Beaver Creek.
Agni Coeguel est fier de présenter le podcast minier. Avec cet engagement, on poursuit notre mission. Faire briller l'industrie minière, mettre en valeur son savoir-faire, ses talents, sa relève et ses retombées positives dans nos communautés.
And how were you able in 5 years to bring, you mentioned 80 investors to now 300 investors from all over the world, in fact.
Yeah.
So you've been traveling to meet with them, invite them to come to Quebec. What's your golden ticket?
Like just sitting down with them and talking about the event and what we offer in terms of as a conference and how we differentiate ourselves. You know, the other thing, like when we started, we came out of the gate with big dreams and hope. Like we were at the Chateau Frontenac and we were at the Armory and we grew out of it in the second year, right? But we also, in our second year, we sponsored 50 students from across Canada. You know, the PDAC called me after that and said, well, how did you do it? I'm like, how did we do it? I wrote a check. That's how we did it. You know, I mean, we had 2 sponsors, but I wrote a check for the back end of it, right? Now we don't have to do
you
that.
believed in your event.
I believed in it. I thought we were providing investors and mining companies with something really, really special in Canada. And the more I spoke to people and I said, why do you as a mining company have to go to the UK or to Colorado and all these other conferences? Why aren't we doing one of these types of conferences in our own backyard? We are arguably one of the mining capitals of the world, particularly today with all the geopolitics going on. Why aren't we doing? And they were like, if you do it, we'll support you. And that's how it started. Small.
Even after 5 years, I'm still hearing people, why is Joanne doing it in Quebec City and not Montreal? I'm really happy you're doing it in my town.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a question out there why you're not doing it in Montreal.
So one of the things that Beaver Creek, Denver Gold, the BMO conference do really, really well is they hold their events in a place where people are kind of captured, right? So you're forced to network, you're forced to talk to people. It's a very intimate environment, okay? That's one reason. And what better place than beautiful, historic Quebec City to do that? It attracts people. It attracts the European investors. Most of the large global mining companies have a footprint in Quebec. So when we were looking for a place that was really spécial to do it, this is where we kept coming back to, right? The other thing I will say is when you hold a conference in London, in Toronto, in Montreal, the investors are coming in and out. Oh, all of a sudden they have a meeting, something happens. They're not coming. Oh, now you got to change the calendar.
Quebec is so boring. They have nothing else to do.
Exactly. But but when they come in, you know, if they make the effort to fly in or to travel there, they're going to take that meeting. So that's why I'm never going to go to Las Vegas. I'm never going to do, I should say never, but I really don't want to do a conference in Toronto or Montreal or wherever. It's too easy for them not to come. I know that sounds crazy, but if they make the effort to travel, they're going to take the meetings.
What's your big takeaway from last year's edition?
We're on the right track. Yeah. And then, you know, last year is where we sort of started manifesting International Mining Week. So we had interest from ITFA, which is the International Traders and Forfeiters Association, which represents the entire logistics chain of the mining industry. So if you can imagine the shippers, the freighters, the ports, the bullion traders, the copper concentrate guys, the insurance brokers, the bankers, anything that has to do with shipping material from point A to point B and everything in between. So that's what ITFA stands for. So they had an interest to do something in Quebec City with us. And then our friends at the AMQ, Emmanuel, you said you should talk to her.
Yeah.
We did. And then they're like, this is a great idea.
I feel this is all because of me.
Kudos
Thank you.
to you, madam. But it was, when we approached her, they weren't really sure what we're doing. And we're very collaborative, very supportive of women. We're a very, very collaborative group. We are not competitive. I don't think there's anything out there that we're a hybrid of everything. All the best of all the conferences that we could find, we put together. So it's a very different animal. But I said to Emmanuel, if you can come, because I think they were doing it 1 year in Quebec City, one
when
year
we're in Saint-Sauveur.
Yeah, in Saint-Sauveur. And I said, people were torn last year. I said, here, they can send their technical group to you and they can send our C-suite to us. And we'll have a day of conference, a day of like panels and plenary sessions. And now I'm really, really delighted to announce that we have the very first ever National Indigenous Symposium, which is being headlined by Yvonne Rumbold-Jones, who's a former MP of Labrador. She's an Innu woman herself. And she is gathering all of the leaders, all of the Indigenous leaders from across Canada to come to Quebec. So we have that. We have a lot of sponsors now for national. We're waiting for 2 more big ones, and then we're going to make a big...
So, Joanne, no more check writing for you. You're done with that?
Yeah, well, we wrote a lot of checks the first couple of years, but that's okay.
Wow,
That's
so it's
okay.
a big program. So just pour résumer un peu
Yeah.
la semaine en juin, you have 3 events within one.
Yes.
So you've got the mining week, but then
Yes.
you have the event.
We have the event, which is very investor coded and presentations. And then we have AM. So we're like second to fourth. AMQ is...
Association minière du Québec.
Yeah. The AMQ is the third and fourth. And then our plenary sessions are on the 2nd in the Hilton across. So we've got like 7 or 8 panels going on. And we also have a golf day on June 1st.
I saw that June 1st.
Yes. And ITFA is going to be presenting on our stage on June 1st at, I think, 5:30 in the evening. And then we're going to roll into our first welcome event, sponsored by ITFA and CORE. So and that's the first thing. So golf, the evening event, then our day, and then we have our gala event, which is all about Le Galaxy. Welcome to the Galaxy Lounge. This year it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have our cocktail the next night. And then we have the International Mining Week After Dark event from 9 to midnight.
Okay.
So there's a closing event, and there's an after party. There's all sorts of
There's
things happening.
enough. Just bring dresses for the women listening. And
Exactly.
How have you managed as a... I don't like always asking this question as a woman because I find like anybody that is successful should be making their way through life and business and even the mining industry.
Yeah.
But in the financial industry, I
It's
find
tough.
it's another
leap.
no cush. Là,
Yeah, I know.
that you've
I
been
know. It's
through,
another
so-
notch. I was in the mining industry when I was really young, and it was really hard. Really, really hard. Even as an IR person, there just wasn't a lot of us, right? And I have worked, I'm going to say, like, I've worked my way up, right? I remember, this is real, I'm going to give you an anecdote. It's really funny. The first time I met with Peter Maroney and I just started had just started this IR company, and I'm in his office, and he's looking at me, and and Peter was amazing. I love Peter. And he's like, I will go anywhere you tell me. You just tell me where to go, blah, blah, blah. And I had all these, we were planning on getting him listed in US and everything, right? And he goes, well, you're the expert. And I almost turned around, honest to God. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. Yes, I am the expert. Yes, Peter, I'm the expert, right? But it was like my first experience where somebody actually looked at me
Believed
and said,
in you.
yeah, you're the expert, right? And it's like, I will never forget it, but that's Peter. But I'll never forget almost going, oh, yeah, yes, I am the expert.
Do you find that IR has changed over the years with the information, even AI that's giving information?
AI, like when I was doing, I'll give you an example. When, back in the day, it was like Fred Flintstone on tablets, right? Like we didn't have social media. And when social media started popping its head up, like on Twitter and stuff like that, like the Securities Exchange Committee didn't even want you to do that. It took a long time, and then it was just so overwhelming that people just did it, right? You had to be you were so restricted in what you could say and what you couldn't say. It was like, well, what's the point, right? You might as well just send a press release. Of course, now it's different. So that's been a huge game changer. You can reach so many people in so many different ways at so many levels. It's like at one time. Back then, it was like you had an investor meeting. You had a phone call. That's how you did it. And you had a PowerPoint. And you that's all you had. Like I'm saying, like Fred Flintstone on a tablet and smoke signals. That was about it.
Yeah. Things have changed. How do you see the 5 years come from now? Do you see the big changes coming?
I think AI is going to, I hope not take over completely, because I think we will have lost our human touch. I think that's why it's really important to have these conferences where people actually, and I think that's why, even after COVID, we started right after COVID in 22, and we still had 230 people show up, because people after 5 years of being shut in, or 3 years, I should say, were like, okay, that's it. We're done. We got to get out. And it took the investors a long time to come back. They were the laziest of the bunch because, I'm just going to do a Zoom call. I'll just pick up the phone and talk to them. But now they realize that they also have to go out. There's nothing, it's really hard to invest in a company for the first time over a Zoom call or over a Teams call. You have to eyeball the CEO. You have to eyeball his team, to be able to invest confidently, right? So you've got that. And I think that worked in our favor as the years went on. Just the second year, we went from 47 to 108 companies, right? And then we went to 118. And last year we had 126. And this year we're going to have 150. Now, the
150 companies one-on-one.
No, we'll have about 125. This is really important. And I'm glad you brought this point up. So we will have 150 companies there. But of those 150, we now have 140 confirmed, 137 to 140. But out of that, we will have 120 to 130 taking meetings from 130 investors, right? Or over 300 investors. So we want to keep that 2-to-1 ratio. And I have a waiting list now. I could bring in another 20, 30 companies, but I don't want to do that.
How do you select your companies to go in? There's a waiting list.
So the companies that obviously first come, when we send out our invitations in the summer for the following year. And we always have, there is a priority group. The companies that came this year, that's the priority, right? So there's priority invites that go out. And after that, if you don't let us know by this date, then I can't hold your spot for you. So we were sold out of speaking slots in October of this year. And we had, well over 100 companies confirmed in September. So we are starting, I don't think we'll ever be like, yet, maybe in a bit like Beaver Creek, where it's just, but we are getting known as one of the places you have to be. So I need to be really careful. I can't overextend my companies. Sure, would I like another 30, 40 companies? Absolutely.
But then you need more investors.
But then until we see what the actual investor engagement is going to be like, right now we're above where we were last year already. So that says to me it's going to be great. But we can't take that for granted. Now, closer to the event, if I have room for maybe 10 or 15 more companies and it's looking good with the investors, I will let them in. But right now, we're done. We have, we'll have out of those 150 companies, when I say we're now at about 140, we have companies that will come in on an industry invite. We do have that option. So people can come in and network. They can't take the one-on-ones, but there's an industry invite where they can come in, they can walk around, they can kick the tires, they can see what we're all about.
Kick the tires, I like that.
Yeah. So this is what it's all about, right? Yeah. They can eat our food. They can go to the evening events. They can go over to the plenary sessions at International Mining Week.
They come see us at the podcast minière because we'll be there too.
Yes, in the media, on our media green carpet area. So yeah, we've got, I've got 190,000 square feet, as you know, and we use almost every bit of it. So yeah.
Well, very exciting. We'll be there in June this year for another great edition. Thank you for your time at the podcast once again.
Beaucoup.
And we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you, Joanne.
Faire entendre une industrie qui nous est chère. Voilà le cœur de ce projet Comporte avec Quels. Ensemble, on démystifie, partage et rend possible cet univers qui nous passionne. Et l'aventure continue. On se retrouve dans le prochain épisode.